All right. Welcome to episode whatever this is of E.M.O. Eric Mitchell Opinions. I am no longer going to have the numbers in the titles because this is going to be a long running series, and I feel like if you have like episode 150, something like that, people are going to be less likely to click on it. So, no more numbers and titles. So, today, what we're going to talk about is this year, 2025. The fucking Giant Slayer, dog. This year's been incredible. Insane. Um it's funny because I feel like for half of it, maybe all of us, I for sure thought it was just like unique to me and my partner that this year was crazy. But no. It like I like near like maybe August, I don't know the exact month, but like near the end of the year, I was seeing more memes about how this year was insane. And like obviously Trump's the president, Republicans are in control of everything. This year's just gonna it's just gonna suck. Like it's gonna suck for everyone. But like it was it there was a unique feeling this year, I think, of just like growth and going through really hard times and just people kind of snapping um and making a lot of really big important realizations this year. I feel like just for a lot of people, this was a huge year of growth. I mean, my partner, my fiance, that's another part of this year. But me and my fiance have been talking a lot about how this year is the year of growth because me and them went through a lot this year, a lot. Um, so I don't know the exact title of this, but I do know that the main thing I want to talk about this year, um, talk about in this video, is gonna be how self-love is impossible without self-defense. If you can't, you in order to love yourself, you have to defend yourself. And that, I think, was the biggest revelation I had this year, and probably the source of most of my growth this year. And so I'm going to define what that means a little bit later. We're going to circle back to it, but I'm just going to kind of go through what happened this year and why it was just so crazy. It was such a crazy year. I have my camera open and I'm only looking at myself. I need something to look at that's not just my face. I don't mind looking at my face. I do think the lighting's good. Oh, I took off like all the light. Yeah, let's keep that there. Okay, whatever. But basically, yeah, 2025. So I started. I've moved twice this year. Twice. Um. So me and my partner started off in a completely different place this at the beginning of this year. We were living in my old hometown, not too far away from my dad, and it was just getting too expensive. So I think February was the end of the lease. So at the end of February, we had to move out. And moving, oh my God, moving was such an ordeal. Um, and I will, I'm not gonna like put everything, all our private stuff on blast. There was just like, it was stressful. It was very stressful at the time. There's a lot of stuff that we both had to work through and learned a lot about each other while we were moving. And so that was just a very stressful situation. And then so in order to save up, because like I said, our old apartment was so expensive, we didn't really, our old apartment was so expensive, we really couldn't save up. Like literally, it was just like a paycheck and a half going straight to rent. It was crazy. So because of that, we couldn't really save up. So we ended up moving in with a friend of ours for 3 months, which was like, I still really appreciate her, um, her and her girlfriend for like letting us stay with her, because it was like we really could have been asked out. We could have just been asked out. We would have been fucked. Honestly, we would still probably be at our old apartment if it wasn't for them. So I do really appreciate that. Um, and yeah, so we were staying with them for 3 months, and it was just kind of like, again, they're great for letting us stay there, obviously, but like just because like how different our personalities were, there wasn't so much of a clash, but it was just like it was a situation, you know. It's tough being in a situation like that where you're used to having your own rules, you're used to doing things how you want to because you lived with just you and your partner, and then you move into something where it's no longer your rules anymore, and you're still used to like doing stuff how you want to, and now you have to do stuff that like is for the house and just doing things that like you don't quite understand, but like it's their rules and their house, so you can't really question it. Not so much that you can't question it, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like who are you to come to someone else's house when they're letting you stay with them and try to make the rules up, you know? So it was just like that kind of situation where it's kind of rough. There was some like headbutting, and there were times where um, there was just miscommunications that led to like them thinking, the people that I was staying with thinking that I was doing something that I wasn't. Um, it was just like it was small things, but it was just like it was a situation where like we kind of not so much butted heads because this is gonna tie into the larger point of defending yourself, where like they thought I did something that was like gonna like structurally hurt the house. Like I was making food and like I had poured some of the extra like water and stuff into the drain, but they thought I was pouring oil into the drain, which I like could mess up the drain. So like there was a situation where we had like this whole like house meeting about it, and yeah, it was a thing. But the reason I bring that up is just because it was a situation where like I kind of felt made small a bit because I knew I didn't do anything wrong, but like I was being talked down to like I did do something wrong. Um, so and I didn't really defend myself. That's the thing. Um, and so that was just like an example of some of the stuff going on there, where it's just like I kind of just didn't really feel completely at home after 3 months, because 3 months was the limit, and literally like basically like 2.5 months in, that's where we found the place that we're in now. It's actually funny. We were Me and my partner actually went to Kendrick's New Jersey show, and that was the same day we got the email that we got approved for the apartment that we're in now. And it was like, Kendrick got us our apartment. It was like it just it was so good. And then we like it was in the nosebleeds, but it was still so good. The only regret I have about that concert is that I should have listened to more SZA beforehand, and I wish I went the second day because Baby Keem showed up. But still, that was a great day. When we got the we were celebrating so hard. Um, and yeah, so after we moved in here, the move in was much easier than the move out. Oh my god, the move out, like the move from our old apartment to our friend's place, was like out of like fucking hell, like actual hell. I thought it was gonna be like 2-3 hours max. I think it took about 12. Like I think we started around noon and ended around midnight. That shit was genuinely one of the worst days of my life, one of the hardest tests of our relationship, with me and my fiance. We There was just like a lot of stuff last minute we had to just leave in the trash or leave in the apartment. um and it was a struggle. It was really a struggle. Thank God one of my friends from my job, um, not volunteered. I asked her to help us move because she drove and because neither of us drive, and so she thankfully helped. My brother was really helpful too. He stayed, and like after we had left with everything packed, or as much as we packed could pack, he stayed and cleaned up the apartment so that like we didn't just get like charged out the ass for everything. Um, and so after that, yeah, no, it was that was an intense day. That was really intense. I remember like there were so many points during that day where me and my partner were like just like let's just fuck it. Like I don't even know what fuck it is. Just fuck it. Like whatever we need to do to end this suffering, we'll do it. But we persevered. Uh, Honestly, a lot of that, back to Kendrick, a lot of that pushed us was like Man of the Garden. Man of the Garden was my most listened to song of this year. This is gonna be last year in like 2 days, but that's my most listened to song of 2025 was Man of the Garden by Kendrick. And if you haven't heard that song, I would definitely suggest listening to it. It is basically a song of just affirmations of Kendrick telling himself that he deserves it all because of what he's been through. His family deserves it all because of what they've been through. His city deserves it all. And just like pushing away guilt and pushing away self hatred and saying like no matter what, I don't need to be a perfect person. I still deserve everything I'm getting right now, and I deserve something better. And that song has been like an anthem for me and my fiance this year. And so we, I remember at one point while we were carrying something really heavy to the trash because for some fucking reason at my old apartment, the fucking like door to our apartment and the trash was like a bajillion miles away. It was so far for no reason. And so we had to carry so much shit back and forth from the trash. Um, and so at one point where we were both very close to just giving up, we just started like singing that song together and like rapping the verses together. And it kind of gave us a boost that we needed in order to keep going and keep pushing. We kind of just entered this state where it was like it wasn't about emotions or feelings, it was just the facts. It was just like complete dissociation. Like my spirit doesn't need to be here, I just need my body. Like my flesh is all I need. The soul and the light in my eyes can go away, it's fine. Like go to the Bahamas, go watch an anime in your head. I just need this corpse to lift this fucking couch, you know? And so like oh my god, we were suffering that day. That was a rough day. But yeah, and then after we had moved into this apartment, it was so much easier because we had a lot more people helping us like move the stuff from the apartment to here. Like honestly, it was so easy that someone had asked to help us move. I told them like maybe like 30 minutes into it, like, oh yeah, no, you're good. I asked my brother actually. I had asked him to help us move again, and I told him like, don't worry about it actually, because he had like fucking busted his ass so hard before. And I was like, you did enough. We're almost done. I'm not gonna make you come out here. Like, chill. You're good. And so yeah, like the move in was really much more smooth. The main thing is just unpacking. We moved in. I mean, I don't remember the exact month, but we moved in like maybe 6 months ago, something like that. Pretty much virtually everything's unpacked. Just a couple of stuff we just don't have storage for, so we still need to buy like bigger bookshelves. But honestly, yeah, like there was just this year was full of a lot of moves and just a lot of like personal growth. I think I can't really off the top think of everything that happened. I could definitely think of a couple things. It just felt like a lot of tests, like I'm not really a spiritual or religious person. I think I'm becoming a slightly more spiritual, because it does kind of, I don't know, maybe it's like a self-centeredness because obviously not everyone has this experience, but it just feels like I'm becoming more in tune with like the self and the universe and stuff like that. But it just feels like the universe is giving me tests. Within like not even like the same week, I think the same day, we had a huge leak in our apartment. Like I'm not gonna show it to you, but like there was two separate spots in the ceiling where there was actually three, two in the bedroom, one in the bathroom, where it was leaking just water just constantly. And the landlords did not want to do shit about it for so long. It took so fucking long. and we had to get a new bed because the one that we had got completely soaked and destroyed. Um, and so yeah, like within the same day of that happening, our cat got like really sick. Where basically she wasn't eating, and she loves to eat. This child, like she literally, the only reason she's quiet now is one, I'm talking, and for some reason she's like, despite being the rudest fucking cat ever, she will literally like chill out if I'm talking, and then the second I'm done talking, she will start meowing. But the reason she's not meowing now is one, I'm talking, and two, she is sleeping because I fed her early because she was literally would not shut up while I was trying to work on stuff. But yeah, like so she was not eating, throwing up everything that she could eat, and not using the bathroom. This had gone on for a couple of days, and we were just like, no, we gotta figure out what's going on with her. Like, I don't know what's going on. So we took her to the vet. What it looked like was that she got something in her stomach that she wasn't supposed to. So like they basically just made it pass. And thankfully for all that help, we have to pay what's basically like 2 months of rent for a vet bill. So all that was happening at the same time. Crazy. At least like we're talking like we had like virtually just moved in, and now we're like, do we have to like find another apartment already because our roof is leaking, and they're not doing jack shit about it. Do we like? Is our cat gonna fucking die? Like, what's going on? So there was just more stress added to the stressful year. Obviously, everything going on with the Trump administration, the stuff going on in the country. There's been like, thankfully we haven't run into them, but there's been fucking ICE agents in our city that we haven't seen, but like we've heard that there've been ICE agents in our city. So just like all the stress of personal things, government things, a bunch of elections that were going on. I was very stressed about the New Jersey election because I was not particularly inspired by by the person that was our nominee. And so I was like, we're gonna get a fucking Republican governor and we're all gonna die. um, and so like it's just a lot of just like nerves and anxiety. I was also like, because I live in New Jersey, I'm basically like half New York. So I was also like nervous about the mayoral race because I was rooting for Mamdani, but I knew he was an underdog. So it's just a lot of shit going on this year, man. Uh, it's just a lot of like personal and oh yeah, and work stress. Obviously, like I still work at a coffee shop, and I've been like doing my best to get the fuck out of it. Um, and so it's just been like with all of those things going on, um, personal things I can't control, things I can control. It's just been like kind of like being submerged and coming back out to breathe, and being submerged and coming back out to breathe, like fighting your way out of a crowd. It feels like I'm constantly being tested, in like a, not like a want to fight kind of way, but just in like a, like the universe is testing me kind of way, you know what I mean, like just seeing how strong I can be. And so there was one particular event that like I feel like saying it out loud, it doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but there's a history to it that kind of made me snap. So for my birthday, there was this club I wanted to go to that was hosting an emo night. I'm a big emo fan, as most of y'all know. You know, I was a Paramore kid growing up. I loved Panther Disco growing up, and now I like I still like that like more mainstream emo stuff, but I also really love like underground, like math rocky kind of shit. Midwest emo, obviously. I mean that what right there is really From's second album. For those who don't know, Really From is like a math rock jazz emo band. That second album is Verses, yeah. The second album is Verses. It's much more jazzy. Definitely still has some of that math rock emo style, but like definitely a little more palatable. Not palatable, but a little softer, in a good way. And so we were going. I invited a lot of people to this club's emo night. And so I invited a lot of people I work with. Obviously, I invited my fiance and I invited another friend of mine, probably one of my best friends, who's probably gonna be one of the people watching this. So hi, I'm not gonna say your name, but you know. And so we I had invited a lot of people for my job. For backstory, a lot of people at my job do hang out a lot with each other constantly. So I was like, okay, so it's just one more thing that we're all gonna do. And I kind of had like a vibe that people probably weren't gonna go, but I was just like, okay, let me just throw out the invites, see who goes, see who doesn't. There was one person from my job who said yes for sure. I did feel bad telling her that we ended up. So basically, we'll get to it. ADHD. My stories are like bits and pieces of all arcs. So I invited a bunch of people. One person said yes. One person explicitly said no, but it made sense because they worked early the next day. And then everyone else just kind of like ghosted, basically. I invited some other friend groups. They said yes, but then like slowly one by one they started like pulling back. Um, and then it basically ended up with just me, my fiance, and one of my best friends who ended up going. Um, and so the people at work I didn't really say anything to, um, but there was for like one of my other friend groups I basically kind of snapped at them and was like, listen, because again like everyone either ghosted or canceled, right? This has been a thing in my life where I feel like I'm not listened to or taken seriously, or I'm put on the back burner as like, oh well, like it's fine if we like disappoint Eric because they can take it, or like it's fine if Eric isn't involved in this thing because it's whatever. Um, just like it's fine to not take their wants seriously, and that's not. I don't think that's like the explicit like thought process, but I think that that's the result. That's the resulting feelings that come from the way I have felt like I've been treated for most of my life. Where it's kind of like it's okay to put Eric's needs on the back burner because I don't defend myself. I'm not going to make it a big deal if you do something that's hurtful. I'm not going to make it a big deal if you do something that upsets me or disappoints me. So it's fine because I don't care, or if I do care, I'm not going to make you see it that I care. And I snapped. I was like, at so the people in my friend group, I was like, I'm really fucking tired that every time I have a want or a desire, it's seen as an option or seen like something that's not that important. Um, and I didn't talk to a lot of them for a while. And I had that realization of just like, if you don't take yourself seriously, if you don't defend yourself, if you don't stand up for yourself, if you don't say when someone hurts you and like make it a thing and make it a problem, no one else will. If I don't defend myself, I'm not going to get the things that I want. If I'm not willing to make things awkward because someone did something fucked up to me, I'm not necessarily like not going to a party is fucked up. It's more of just like the pattern of like it's acceptable to treat me a certain way. If I'm not going to make that a problem, no one else is going to. A lot of times when I talk about like self-love, I imagined it as like how you would love someone else. And so I would think of um like my fiance, or I think of like my godson, and I would be like, okay, well, like you would do, I like, you think like the normal self-love stuff of like taking care of yourself, loving yourself, like, oh well, like if your fiance or if your godson did this or that, you would still love them, you would still want to be with them, you would still want to be around them. um and so that like and that's true. I think that is a good way of thinking about it. But I think that you could love yourself all you want. You can love your fiance um or your godson all you want, but like if someone's bullying your godson, or someone like punches your fiance in their face while you're around them, and you have the opportunity to like do something about it and you don't, how much do you really love them? You know what I mean? I'm not saying like fucking stab someone to death, but I'm saying like, if you can't defend something you love, you don't love it as much as you think. And that's been like the way I viewed myself for a long time, where I loved myself but I couldn't defend myself. I felt that like I could see the good and bad in me, but other people, if they just saw the bad in me, I can't really defend it. Um and so I kind of had a snapping moment where I was like, humans are good and bad. I have flaws. I could be annoying. I can be very hyperactive. I come on here and I feel like I'm much more chill, but that's because I'm trying to gather my thoughts. Like, in the real world, I don't give a fuck. I'm just like, I'm hyper. I'm like very random. I'm very like, I just say stuff sometimes, and like it's not always the best thing to say, but it's like it's what pops in my head. Um, I had like a realization that it's like, it's okay to be annoying. It's okay to be a little bit annoying. I think that like we want to be these perfect versions of ourselves, and I do want to be a better person. I don't like interrupting people. I don't like talking over people. And so I work on that. But like, if the price of being around me, there's this phrase I actually really like that's been like my motto for this year, where it's like, if I'm too much for you, then go find less. I know I can be a lot. I know I'm very hyperactive. I know I can be annoying. That's fine. If you don't like it, that's cool. If it's annoying to you, that's cool. I just don't care. Like, there are plenty of people that I find like a little bit annoying. I don't want them to fucking die. I don't want them to have a bad life. I just don't like being around them. If you don't like being around me, that's cool. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going. I am still going to change, but I'm not going to change on your behalf. That's the thing. And so, like I said, loving yourself means defending yourself. I have been way more willing to get into arguments with people because I'm not sacrificing myself in order to appease someone else. I have been way more willing to call people out if they fuck up around me, because I'm not willing to sacrifice my comfort for your comfort to get into my shit. I'm not willing to sacrifice myself in order to make you think that what fuck shit you did is okay. You know what I mean? Like, example situation, there were some people who are not black that I know who just are cool, just so cool using like non-black, anti-black slurs, because it's like, oh, I grew up in that environment and it was fine, and I'm just like, not around me, not around me, and I let shit slide for too fucking long, not around me. And so, just being willing to have those conversations and being willing to like be an asshole, honestly. I have been in situations where like typically I'm putting on the super bubbly, happy, hyper facade, where I'm just like giving as little as possible, not out of like anger, but just like, that shit tires me out. And if I'm not cool with you, I'm not gonna fake being super nice with you. Like, I'm not gonna be an asshole to you. But if you've done something that's like upsetting, if you ignored me, if you've been one of these people that have like never considered how I feel about something, I'm not gonna be like super happy, like, hey, how, like, I'm not putting on the fucking show. I'm not putting on the fucking circus. And it's like, I feel like I actually have come across as more of an asshole since then, which is funny because I have not been happier. I have never been happier. Like the amount of like things I'm willing to put up with has gotten smaller. The ability of being able to stand up for myself has gotten better, and the ability of setting my boundaries and having consequences for those boundaries has gotten better. So I probably come across meaner. I come across less likely to be like super friendly. I come across more like antagonistic, but I've not been happier. I probably seem like I'm been more mad. I haven't been happier because when the people that I'm around who I genuinely love, and I love really hard. I love really hard. With the people I love and I'm around, I have that energy to give with them. I have that willingness of like giving that energy I would normally waste on people who I feel don't deserve it. You know? Who don't deserve it. So like when I'm around my friends, I'm not as exhausted. I can be more like outgoing and happy-go-lucky and more just like the energy that I'm used to because I've been saving it and I haven't been wasting it on people. You know? There was this great post I saw where it's like, you know, sometimes the healed you is actually meaner. And then someone retweeted it saying, go listen to GNX. GNX has been like such a huge part of this year. For real. And especially like GNX, obviously, Man at the Garden. And then also, me and my fiance have been really, really fucking with the Let God Sort 'Em Out Clips album. And I think the quote for this year has been, therapy told me how to open up. It also showed me I don't give a fuck. And I think that is just how I feel. I love myself. And if need be, I will defend myself. I'm not going to let people just treat me however they want to and still expect a free pass in my life. Like I know what my flaws are. I know I can be lazy. I know I'm overweight. I know I can talk too much. I know I can be very hyper. I don't care. I don't. That's not a free pass to treat me however you want to treat me. All right. I don't care. Genuinely. And so like I still love myself because and despite of my flaws. Because and despite of my flaws. And I think that's an important lesson to learn. I think that you have to be willing to fight for yourself, you know? You have to be willing to tell people that you are worth it and you are worth defending and that you're not to be fucked with, honestly. Like, you're just not to be fucked with. The GNX album... there we go. The GNX album is actually not mine. It's my partner's, my fiance's. Yeah, that's another thing. Holy shit. I got engaged this year. I got engaged on the 23rd, actually. Yeah. I'm getting married. Hey! But yeah, if you love yourself, you gotta defend yourself. I feel like I should talk more about the engagement thing, but that might be another video. Yeah, that was another part of this fucking year. Like, holy shit, goddamn, I got engaged. After like years of thinking that marriage was never gonna be for me. But yeah, if you love yourself, defend yourself. You can't let people walk over you. Different situation for different people. I've been moved out of my parents' house for 4 years, so it's a lot easier for me to defend myself because I have no financial ties to them. If you're like a kid who still lives with your parents, obviously there's only so much of defending yourself you can do without like being kicked out or being like physically harmed. But like, do what you can. There are situations where you can safely defend yourself from people, and you're worth it. Good stuff you done, bad stuff you done. If you're willing to be a better person, then you're willing to then if you're willing to be a better person, then you're deserving of then you're deserving to defend yourself. If you're willing to be a better person, you deserve to defend yourself. You know what I mean? I think that's basically it. You can't just love yourself. You have to defend yourself. You deserve it all. I deserve it all. We deserve it all. I deserve it all.